My name is Barbara Connor, and this is Energy Literacy. We are continuing our discussion, and I've been learning an awful lot, so I hope this is beneficial and begins the civic discussion everywhere and among all of our viewers. We are delighted to have some very special, truly experts here today. And first, let me introduce you to
Lillian Espinosa-Gala. I'm a deepwater drilling consultant, and I started my career 40 years ago. 41, but 40 years ago I took my first petroleum engineering course at Nicholls State University on the 7 and 7 program. And we have with us today Professor.
Yeah, my name is Said Salehi. I'm a petroleum engineering faculty at University of Louisiana at Lafayette.
Well, isn't this wonderful? What I wanted to be sure that everyone knows, because it's one of the first questions I have when I talk about this. Ms. Lillian here has worked in the industry and is now an international consultant in deep water drilling, and is quite a font of knowledge on all of that. And Professor Salih is from the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, which has one of the oldest and largest programs in petroleum engineering. And I am delighted y'all could take your time to be here. What we wanted to do is start with some pictures, some slides, and we're going to get our discussion going with the first question up on the screen for our viewers, and that is, wow, the first question: where does the oil come from? And how?
Dead dinosaurs.
Dead human beings.
Trees.
Well, dead dinosaurs and human beings.
What about trees?
Trees.
Trees.
Well, do you know how much trees we should have for forming oil and gas?
How much?
Well, you should cut jungles and to wait for them to become oil. How about dinosaurs?
Yeah, how about the dinosaurs? Are we going to run out of dinosaurs?
I think you should have millions of dinosaurs died to have this much of oil and gas.
So what happens when we run out of dinosaurs?
Well, then you'll run out of oil, I think.
Well, I think you were saying that it's more than just dinosaurs that make oil.
Well, we have to we always teach this, that the oil and gas is coming from the things that have been alive once. So they have been organic things.
Organic matter, living
Yes.
matter that is dead a long time.
Yeah, oil and gas are called hydrocarbons.
Hydrocarbons.
So it means hydrogen plus carbons.
Right.
So if we look at the human being's body, it's about 30% carbon.
So one day we're going to be oil and gas.
So
Yes.
we're 30% carbon and a lot of water
Yeah, exactly.
and salt. So
one day somebody's going to be putting us in their fuel tank.
Yeah.
I bet it'll be maybe a million years or something, right?
Yeah, that's another thing, the oil is not formed in like 50 years, 100 years, it's millions of the years.
Millions of years.
Because it takes time for organic materials to decay,
Yes.
and then, it needs pressure, it needs temperature, it needs to be there for millions of years so it can be processed to oil and gas.
Yes. Yes.
I've always felt like, God created man, earth and water first, and then man, and then the rest of the earth. And it takes the millions of years. But eventually he was able to mine salt and oil, these ancient minerals that man cannot live without. So it's a sacred, finite gift that we need to take good care of.
Yeah. I think it's a unique opportunity for human beings that they have this source of energy, that we started to produce like in 19th century,
Yes.
A lot of people didn't realize that Noah used pitch to hold the ark together for the Great Flood. And the Greeks put pitch on the spears where they fought the ships, the Greek wars. So it's an ancient, but it's only been since the 19th century that we learned how to mine this in increasingly complex.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't mind, I'd like to ask you to tell us again. I remember very well that you said it takes petroleum to make a bicycle tire. And you were telling us some of the other things, and medicine and so forth.
IV tubing, our cell phones,
Or
Even
cell
this.
phones,
If,
yeah.
if you look at the items inside your house or inside your car,
Mm-hmm.
I will promise you more than 80% is coming from oil.
The dashboard.
Like plastics, your wheels, dashboards,
Your credit card.
chairs, you know, your credit cards,
Right.
your you know, your bags, your clothing. It's all coming from processing oil in petrochemical industry, and then we're getting those raw materials to make those things.
A lot of our ballet outfits.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Many of the costumes for theater, but when you walk into an operating room, almost everything is made of plastic.
In a hospital operating room, everything's plastic. Wow.
The nursing,
Yeah.
but everything that comes from the drugstore, all of our medicines are compounded using fossil fuels. Not to mention the prescription bottles. When we get up in the morning and take a shower with shampoo,
Yeah.
that's not possible
Even-
without
Yeah, even the fertilizers, you know, we use for
Uh-huh,
lands,
uh-huh.
For
yards. It's all coming from petrochemical industry. So it's not oil and gas for burning or heat.
Mhm.
It's just the materials that we build.
Our whole world.
and DVDs, CDs. You know, the music bands couldn't even operate, play live music without the things that come from this industry.
Well, I
And
think
credit cards.
that's very interesting to know the importance and how much we are surrounded and use every day the petroleum products. Well, tell us some more about your area and engineering, or maybe another slide. What do you think?
Yeah, sure.
Let's have another slide and see what we have next to discuss.
That's kind of the wrong slide. We wanted to start.
Yeah, this one basically shows the steps that oil and gas has been formed. If you look at the top one, it shows some, you know, decaying materials like fish in the bottom of the lake or something.
Yes.
So then it takes millions of the years, so you have layers of rocks that, you know, that sandwich those decaying materials. Then they get under like pressure, temperature during those millions of the years, and then after those years, those decaying materials, they transform to oil and gas.
All right.
So the last slide that you see at the left,
Yes.
this is showing that the oil and gas has been formed and it's underground, maybe several thousands of feet.
Ah.
So you have, in order to have access to them, first you have to find them. And then after you finding them, the challenge starts. You have to start drilling.
Yes.
And once you start drilling, you have to produce from it.
Yes.
And once you produce from it, then it goes to pipelines, it goes to refineries, and from refineries it goes to petrochemical industry. So it's not a day process. It's a months, sometimes years. process
Ah,
of-
just getting.
Well,
it
it's
out of the
actually
ground.
years before you can just do the seismic work to figure out where you might drill.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think we have a slide on that, don't we?
You want-
What's the next slide? Maybe. Is this one of the tools we use?
Yeah, I think
Oh, this is a good one. This shows how deep.
The formation tool?
that,
Yeah. This slide basically shows that, you know, the oil and gas are found deep in the ground. It's not just digging for 100 feet. It sometimes goes to 5,000 feet, 10,000 feet, 20,000 feet. And if you're doing it offshore, you have to add the water depth to it. So sometimes we're finding oil and gas like more than 20,000 feet underground.
Oh,
So right now, the deepest oil that we have, you know how far is it?
Is it
It's-
36,000?
No, it's about 9 miles.
9 miles
Yeah.
down in the ocean?
Yeah, 9 miles. So you think about it, you have to have technology to drill 9 miles from here.
Well, how deep was the BP, the
It was only
Muhammad?
18,000 feet and
And-
5,000 feet of water. It was only in 5,000 feet of water, which wasn't that deep. And it was only 18,000 feet.
So that's not even a mile and a half.
We've been drilling 18,000 feet wells for a long, long time.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
But we're drilling much deeper ones than that.
Yeah.
And
It's getting more complicated every day because the easy oil is finished. I mean,
Yes.
the first oil that was drilled in the US, it was 69 feet. But those shallow resources is gone.
Oh, so the 69 feet was the first one.
Yeah.
And
in
now we're
Titusville,
down-
in Titusville, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yes, that's why Penn State Oil.
And
Well,
Colonel Drake.
let's, I think the next slide was about the horizontal drilling. That was, I think what we call vertical drilling is the term I use, when you're going straight down in the ground. Maybe we have another slide. Hello?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go to this one. All right.
Let me say a little thing about drilling fluids. When
Yes.
the first high pressure well was drilled at Spindletop in 1901, not the first, it was the first one in the United States. There were some in Iran, but we didn't know about it in the Western world. It was the first gusher. It was the first use of drilling fluids. They used the little water drilling rig from Weeks Island.
From Weeks Island,
Yes.
Louisiana.
Yes, and it was the first use of a rotary rig to actually bring up oil and gas, but they used mud, and they had the cows. It was just a mud pit, and the cows would go around and keep the mud circulating, and the mud helped bring the cuttings from the bottom of the well. And then on January 10th, that well blew out, and it was the first gusher in the Western world. And the President of the United States actually took a train to Beaumont, Texas. People thought, wow, this is like a miracle, like another wonder of the world.
Yeah.
The hills, the fields were covered with oil, and everybody, this is great. And the wooden derricks started going up. And on the 10th day, somebody lit a cigarette, the first big oil fire. And then they got serious about putting it out, and we got the first Christmas tree. And the wooden derricks started marching. It was the first connection between salt domes and high pressure wells. And that one well, 100,000 barrels a day, was producing more than all the other wells in the United States combined. So that's when the wooden derricks started marching across the salt domes of South Louisiana, Jennings, by December 1901. Yeah. Then Venice.
Whoa. That's the Louisiana.
And 3 years later, 1903, Kitty Hawk, first airplane, and the first production of automobiles in the United States. So it profoundly changed our civilization.
That's not all by coincidence. It's because of those oil energy or energy booming that happened in the early of the century. So
the petroleum made that possible.
Yes.
Yes. Wow. How about another slide? Let's keep these slides rolling. We have so much information.
See, at that point, we still didn't have electricity. Well, I guess we had electricity in small amounts. We had in 1896, Lafayette had electricity from natural gas, but all across America, especially rural America, would not get electricity until the 1950s through the REA. But this huge supply of high pressure gas connected to salt domes forever changed everything about our civilization.
Wow, it sure did. So whatever is up next, I remember that the hydraulic, the horizontal drilling is particularly in the news now.
Yeah, let me explain that. There are two types of the well that you can drill. Either you can have it vertically, it means that you just go straight down.
Yes.
Changing the direction of the well.
Yes.
But we have other types of the well, which is very popular these days, and it's called like a slanted or directional and horizontal drilling. Horizontal drilling means that you make a 90 degree with the with the vertical wells. And the reason they are popular is because you can have more access to the oil and gas down there because you have more like a surface that you can produce from
like a radius.
Yeah.
So instead of just what you can get from putting a straw down straight, you're now putting the straw down and bending it at a 90-degree angle, and you can get a wider range. I think you said as much as 5 miles from the drill, and it's fracturing, which is shortened now to fracking, and fracturing the shell rock layer. Am I right?
Yes,
okay.
Yes. The hydrofracturing is basically a technology that we want to produce from very tight rocks, because the tight rocks, it's impossible you can get anything out of it because they're so tight.
Yes.
See, all through the 70s and 80s, we knew oil was in those tight rocks, but the price of oil was too low to even think about developing the technology, and only because the price of oil is up above $80, $90 a barrel, have we been able to spend the money to figure out how to get the oil out of these tight formations.
So the price has to be up to a certain level,
Yeah.
maybe $90 a barrel, to make it economically viable to have the fracking.
That's why they call it unconventional.
Unconventional.
Because conventional is something you can do it easily.
Uh-huh,
But unconventional means that you have to spend more money.
right,
Like
Right.
hydrofracturing, you pump waters with the high pressure.
water with high
Yeah,
pressure.
and then you start to like break down or explode those rocks.
Explode the rocks.
Yeah, kind of explosion.
Yeah.
And then once you have created those like fractures, tiny fractures inside the rock, you can see that the oil and gas is, start to come into your well and you produce from it.
Well, can you tell me more? I mean, like how much water, how much pressure?
Oh, that's a very good question actually, because one of the concerns about developing these unconventional resources is lackage or lack of water resources, because you have to use lots of water
Uh-huh.
to produce from those resources.
Like 3 to 5 million barrels
Yeah,
per well.
yeah, but we also
3 to 5 million barrels per well.
Am I
okay.
correct?
I can't recall the exact numbers. So it
Okay.
depends also what like depths of the well you have.
What
so
formation.
How big is
Sure.
your formation?
Yes, yes.
So, but it's several thousands of psi, which we call the units of pressure. It's
Yes.
pound per square inch.
Right.
Pressure.
Several thousands.
Yeah, because you have to break that rock. You see, rock
Right.
is a very.
It was tight. They call it tight
Tight.
rocks.
Tight, right.
Because
Well, give me an idea for this term, pressure per square inch. We're sitting here on top of planet Earth. What is our pressure per square inch?
Well, it's 1 atmosphere, right?
pardon?
The pressure per square inch. You talking
Yeah,
about
PSI.
Yeah.
We call it PSI in the
PSI.
industry.
I know, but I mean, what would I compare that to just sitting here? What PSI are we at? Are we at 1? Is this kind of 1?
Boy, trick the experts.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
We're gonna
It
fly-
depends on
No,
where,
it's-
okay.
It's not really a complicated thing. You have to understand, okay, PSI is pressure, means your weight over the area.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you take my weight, which is 200 pounds, and what area I'm sitting on, that's how much pressure I'm creating.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right,
So
so
it's simply it's pound over the area or over the
Oh,
square
it's
pounds
inch.
per
it's
square inch.
Geometry, I
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
a volume and geometry. Yeah. All right. I've been wondering that, and I didn't mean to trick you. I just been curious about that item. So when you start talking thousands of pounds per square inch, this is really high
Let me give you an
pressure.
example to understand
Yes,
it. You know
yes.
how much pressure we have inside our tires? It's about 30 psi.
Yes,
So
yes.
you can-
30 in the
So you
tires.
can
Okay.
feel your tires. It's,
Yes.
it's too much
Yeah.
pressure, right?
Right.
So you multiply that by 100 times or by 200 times. That's the amount of pressure you need to break those rocks.
That helps me a lot. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's too much
Thank
pressure.
you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sure wouldn't want to be around that. Well, let's see. Do we have any more slides available, or do you want to? I think. Oh, what is this? Oh, that's what happens if you don't balance the
Yeah.
pressures. Okay, we wanted a
Wait, we had-
dramatic picture.
One of the things that I guess we missed the slide for that picture, the mud that we were talking about,
Oh, yes.
is the only thing when you're drilling that holds the well under control. It's kind of like if you're doing surgery on a patient and you have the anesthesia, keeps the patient asleep. The mud keeps the well under control.
Keeps the pressure under control.
It keeps it in the well
Yeah.
instead
Oh.
of coming out to have a kick.
Ah,
There's
okay.
our slide.
Yeah. Oh, and if you don't have it under control, then there's a kick or a collapse.
Yeah, but basically, the best example for drilling fluid is like the blood in your veins.
Okay.
So, without those, you cannot survive because, as you're digging the hole, you have to keep some pressure inside so you can control the mother nature.
Yes.
Because you're drilling into mother nature and you have these pressures from outside
Yes.
that is trying to come into your wellbore. So you need to keep a balance inside.
Yes.
So that's why we use drilling fluids.
Right. Drilling fluids, which are hydrocarbons plus water, I think.
No, hydrocarbons, we are trying to look for hydrocarbons. Drilling fluids is simply water.
Oh,
And
oh.
bayrite.
Yeah.
And bayrite. And other
Okay.
chemicals.
Yeah.
The drilling fluid, isn't it bayrite?
It's a combination of different like components. The most
Components that you
Yeah.
add to the water.
Yeah, most
Okay.
components are like bentonite. It's like a clay, and then you have things that you want to make, so you want to make your fluid heavy, and
Okay.
you add those components to it. But
Okay.
the simple drilling fluid is water.
Water. All right. So we need lots of water to make that much pressure.
Yeah, of course.
Wow.
Let's see,
Okay.
what's the weight of a gallon of water? 8.
In which unit?
It's a
Eight
pound.
gallon-
A pound.
Yeah.
8.
pints a pound.
8 pounds per gallon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see, a lot of these wells, you need 16 pounds per gallon. So that's when you add all these components to water in order to hold the pressure down,
Oh,
to
okay.
keep from taking the kick. Like
Right,
you
so you
just
have
saw.
to double the weight of the
Yeah.
water in order to keep up your pressure.
This is what takes all these petrophysicists and geologists and mud
Yeah.
engineers to, because if you do it too much, then you start losing the mud out into the formation, lost circulation. It's like bleeding.
Yes.
You know how when people are starting an IV, a doctor or nurse on
Right.
it, and you puncture the vein, and
It starts,
you start losing the blood.
you start losing the
It's
pressure.
actually that specialized of an operation.
I think I can understand that. It's
Yeah,
very,
the best example is if you don't control those pressures, the incident that happened
Macondo.
in Macondo in the Gulf of Mexico, this
Yes.
is a clear example of imbalance in pressures.
Yes.
So you need to have a balance of those pressures, which you're controlling or you are balancing with your drilling fluids.
right, so the Deepwater Horizon, Macondo, whatever you want to call
We
it.
call it the Macondo because it took 2 rigs to get there. First the Marianas and then the Deepwater Horizon. But it was the Macondo well.
Okay, all right, and that was what is commonly referred to as the BP spill.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that
BP was the operator.
the operator. Okay, and that went on for how long? It was
Well,
from,
the gusher was 87 days. It took another 65 to do the relief well. It took all the way till November 8th to do the capping stack, the final capping stack.
okay, so
And it will take us years to quantify, all the damage for the people.
Mhm. So that's what happens when things get off balance, and that's why we need professionals like you to keep.
And
keep
also,
the-
his students are the
And his
future.
students, his students are the
ones
future.
that are going to be designing the wells
That's
all over
right.
the world.
That's
These
right.
precious young people.
That's right. There's 650
Eight-
majors over at the university.
800,
Yes.
800 students in the petroleum.
Yeah, including graduate students, we have about more than 700 students,
Oh.
which more than 600 are undergraduate.
Uh-huh.
And from how many countries?
Well, I think it's all over,
Dr. Bakhtiari said this in 2012. He said we have students from 32 nations. He said,
Yeah.
he said it's like the United Nations. I don't know if it's still 32, but it's a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of different countries.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all over the world. So
Yeah.
Pardon?
Well, it's so important. Yeah.
It's really growing. It's one of the premier on the globe, one of the best petroleum engineering universities.
Yes.
They've got a worldwide reputation.
A worldwide reputation.
They do. They do. They're one of the first to get Valco, wasn't it Narco Valco? National Oil Well Valco gave them
Okay.
the software for well control. They're one of the first ones to have everybody accredited, all undergrads, grads, and faculty accredited in well control. And that happened after Macondo.
Oh, after Macondo. So
Mhm.
that's there. You're now, I'm sure, being very careful about
yeah,
teaching these.
because these days, the oil and gas drilling, it's like a NASA project. Because
It
you're
is.
dealing with high pressures, high temperatures, and you have to make sure your engineers know those things. And one of the advantages we have here is, being close to all these companies doing
Yes.
activities in the Gulf of Mexico. So
During the trial, Dr. Weatherby testified he was with NASA during BP's civil trial that actually the deepwater drilling, like Macondo, is more complex hardware and software than it was for NASA to connect the shuttle to the International Space Station.
Wow.
That we've gone way beyond that in technological complexity.
That is something. That's a lot of money. Well, listen, take about 30 seconds, if you would, please, to tell us, I don't know, the most important thing that you want our viewers to know, and also just tell us your names again and your area of expertise and your.
I'm Lillian Espinosa Gala. I just want everyone to know what a precious, finite gift from God our oil and gas is.
my name is Said Saleh. I'm a faculty of petroleum engineering at the University of Louisiana Lafayette. And one thing I would like to end is, we have to always think about safety when we are trying to develop these God gifts. So safety is first always.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And we're so pleased to have both of you come join us for this presentation and continuing the civic discussion about the oil and gas industry and our energy uses. So this is Energy Literacy is the name of this series. I'm Barbara Connor. Thank you very much for watching, and look for us. We will be a continuing series, and thank you to AOC Community Media for making your facilities